'Tis the season for holiday eating, and that means lots of food, tons of desserts, and a lot of cocktails.
Oh, I can't wait. And here to show us how to eat, drink, and be merry without piling on the extra pounds is New York City's weight loss specialist, Dr. Sue Dakotas. Hello there.
Happy holidays. Nice to be with you both.
So, Dr. Sue, why do we overindulge during this time of year? We know better, but we always do it. Why?
I have a simple answer for you, because we can. There are so many great foods out there. We're invited to so many great holiday parties, business parties, friends parties, holiday get-togethers, and we simply can. There are just so many good things out there to choose from.
There are so many good things.
Are there any tips or guidelines you have for us to help us kind of control ourselves so we don't indulge too much?
I think there are a lot of good things you can do to really feel better about yourself around the holidays. And one thing that you have to realize is that it's up to you. You are in total control of this. And realize there are two parts of your brain.
Okay.
The top part of your brain.
The top part.
The top part, like what we call like the cortex. Okay. That is very involved in making decisions.
Okay.
Where you're saying, I'm going to do this, I'm not going to do that.
Okay.
But the bottom of your brain is really involved with impulse. And that's what you can't control.
So the top of your brain says, eat the kale, but the bottom of your brain says,
I'm hungry. I want the chocolate chip cookies. Exactly.
Okay.
So there are a lot of things you can do ahead of time to control those bad impulses.
Okay.
What do you say to those people who say, I'm going to eat all the way through New Year's, and then I'll get it together January 2nd? New Year's resolution type people.
Yeah.
What do you say to them?
I think that those people are mistaken, because it's so much harder to lose all the weight that you've put on. So you're really better off enjoying the holidays and being a little bit more moderate and not putting all that extra weight on, because it's very hard to take it off.
And Shannon, you were telling me that you can gain anywhere from 5 to 7 pounds during the holidays. If
Is that typical?
Yes, some people can gain up to 10 to 12, especially if you think about the period from Halloween all the way through New
You
Year's.
started off with candy, that's true.
That's right. And once you get those blood sugar levels up, your insulin level spikes.
Okay, so what are some things that we can replace? Like, I know you say something about starchy greens. Is that good or bad, and which would you replace it with?
What I would do initially, let's say that you go to a buffet, okay? The first thing that I would do is don't arrive hungry.
That's a very good point.
Big mistake.
You're setting yourself up.
Set yourself up. You don't want to do that, because then that bottom part of that brain is going to tell you you're ravenous. And you're not going to be able to resist any temptation.
And then you're going to get a plate like this big.
Exactly.
Okay.
So start out with having a good protein breakfast and a well-balanced lunch. And get to the function and start with a nice glass of ice water.
Really? Why ice water?
Well, it expands your stomach. And it's satisfying. And add like a little lemon or lime to it, It makes it really tasty, gives you a little flavor, and it's citrusy, which kind of cuts your appetite.
Now, is it true that after your first plate, you should also drink another glass of water?
I think it's a great idea, especially in between drinks.
And what does that do?
Well, it fills you up, and it can slow the absorption of alcohol, which is very good to maintain your blood sugar level. And it also keeps you hydrated, because you don't want to get dehydrated when you're drinking all that alcohol.
That's a very good point. Okay, now speaking of alcohol, we have eggnog here, we have vodka here, we have red wine here, and we have champagne. People love to indulge in all of these during the holidays. Which of these should we avoid? Which should we have in moderation? Are there some better alcohols than others? Tell us, because we're not going to not drink.
Oh, you have to have a little something, right? Okay. And that's allowed. But let me tell you, the worst thing here is the eggnog.
Really? That's such a holiday staple.
It really is, but it's loaded with fat and sugar. So think of what it takes to make eggnog.
I don't know if I agree. Let me see here. Let me see.
What do you think?
Don't taste any fat and sugar. It just tastes good.
That's right.
And listen, the homemade
Dr. Sue,
stuff.
tell him to stop.
Okay, I'm sorry. What should I have instead then?
Well, you know what? The homemade stuff is even better. Because you can make a much lower calorie eggnog with maybe like almond milk or low-fat milk, and you don't have to use as much alcohol.
That's
and
smart.
you don't use as much whipping cream, maybe just a tiny little bit to make it sweeter. Is it going to taste as good as the old-fashioned stuff? Maybe not, but it's going to be pretty satisfying.
Okay.
But realize that your traditional eggnog could be something like 500 calories a glass.
Are you kidding?
Wow.
500
So I just
calories.
sipped about 200 calories then, huh?
Possibly.
That's
Now,
like a
is there
milkshake.
It really is.
It tastes like a
really is
milkshake, actually.
It's worse than a milkshake because it also has the calories of alcohol.
But this one didn't have the alcohol in it, so does that mean it's a little bit better?
A little bit better.
Okay.
But not a
I
lot.
mean, but the eggnog that you're going to drink at a party is going to be loaded with alcohol,
Yeah.
maybe 3 or 4 different kinds.
Okay, well, what about
Rum,
the alcohol?
bourbon.
Are any better than the other?
Okay, so
I think-
red wine.
Well, let's move to this.
Okay,
because
the vodka.
this is my favorite choice here.
Okay.
The vodka?
Okay?
Really?
It's
Explain.
really, because it's lower in sugar. So if you have a glass of vodka or shot of vodka with maybe club soda or diet soda, you're not getting all of those sugars.
Okay.
So wine, this is red wine, as you know. Now, it can be healthy for you because it has a lot of what we call resveratrol and tannins. That's good for your heart. So it's part of the Mediterranean diet.
Yes.
That's
you
what all
know?
my alcoholic friends say. They say, no, I'm
I'm
healthy.
on the
It's good for you.
Mediterranean
I got
diet,
a glass
yeah.
or 2 a day.
But look at it this way, though. You know, it's still calories and it's still sugar. And your body recognizes this as sugar, even
Gotcha.
though you're getting all the vitamins with it.
Okay.
So what I love about the vodka is that it doesn't have as much sugar.
Okay. So vodka with club soda, and we're good to go.
And you're good to go.
Okay.
And don't forget a little lime.
A little lime.
Okay.
Now, what about the sparkling?
The sparkling is pretty much the same as a white wine.
Okay.
But you know what? It goes down a little bit faster, so you have to be careful.
Okay.
People tend to drink a little bit less of red wine than they do of white wine because it's a little bit more filling. So just be careful with that white wine. If you go through 3 or 4 glasses of that, you're talking almost 1,000 calories.
And regardless of which alcoholic drink you drink, you should make sure you also eat as well.
You have to eat, and you also have to drink, as you said, a good glass of water in between.
Okay. Now, water's here, and you said this is the best choice.
This
so
is
what
great.
about these smoothies? I see
Oh,
these at the
boy.
store. They're like packaged, prepackaged
That's right.
smoothies. And
plastic bottles, which aren't the best thing for you, right? Because
okay.
there are a lot of
BP.
chemicals. BPA is in there. But everyone thinks smoothies are so great. And so many of my weight loss patients say, you know, I'm not losing any weight. I'm really frustrated. And I don't know why, because I juice every day. And I tell them, maybe that's why. Because there are so many carbohydrates when you juice. So this type of a smoothie contains so many grams of carbohydrates, so much sugar, and not that much protein.
so is it okay if you juice but mix in some leafy greens in your juice?
That's a good idea, but you realize that anything that you drink goes through your stomach very quickly.
It's true.
And what that means is it can spike your sugar and therefore your insulin level. And when your insulin level goes up, all of those calories go right to fat. You're not able to burn
wow,
them.
really?
Isn't that something?
That is
So you
something.
want to avoid those insulin spikes.
Okay.
Now, if you pair it with, say, a handful of nuts, does that help because it balances out?
Well, nuts are great for you because in low amounts, and they are pretty caloric. I mean, they're pretty dense in
Especially
calories.
cashews. They can be really fattening if you don't watch
However,
out.
Tell me about
let's
it.
say that you have a couple. Let's say that you have like a handful, and you have it, let's say, before you go to that buffet.
Okay.
They get absorbed very slowly, and the fat is really going to satisfy you.
Okay.
So that you don't feel as hungry. And they actually decrease the amount of food that you eat at the party.
Okay.
So having a few of these before your dinner is always a good idea.
Okay, well, you're speaking of the party. There's always some nice little treats at the party. like
Yes,
these cookies.
cheese and crackers and cookies. You know the deal,
That's
Dr.
right.
Sue.
That's
So
right.
Can we have just a few, or should we just avoid altogether?
Well, I think what you want to do is be as full as possible.
Okay.
Okay. But let's say that you're having this, like, here's your little cheese plate right here, right?
Right? Yeah, cheese plate.
Now, these crackers are loaded with flour, and they're really broken
salt
down to
too, right?
sugar very, very quickly.
Okay.
So these are not my favorite. I mean, there are some other crackers that you could use that are probably lower in white flour, so maybe whole wheat crackers are a better choice.
Okay.
Okay.
And when you're looking at the cheese plate, your best bet on a cheese plate is perhaps brie cheese, brie or
Brie.
camembert. It has lower fat and lower calories.
Okay.
Your other cheeses like cheddar are usually very high in saturated fat and very high in calories. But better than your cheese plate, load up on some of these vegetables.
Okay.
Okay? These are so filling. They have so much fiber. And look at how pretty they are.
Now,
Look
are
at
you
these
allowed
colors.
to dip these in the, the ranch dressing or the blue cheese? Or are you just supposed to eat it like this?
Well, you're
No.
better off eating them raw. But let's say that you had a hummus dish.
Okay, hummus dish.
Yeah,
That's a good
tahini
idea.
or something like that. That could really be tasty.
Right, because a lot of people don't like them just raw, but the hummus,
Exactly.
I love
Yeah,
hummus.
hummus is
so-
good.
Yeah, it's very tasty.
Good idea.
Dr. Sue, can we indulge in any candies or just avoid? A candy cane here or there, or
Well,
just no?
I would say a dark chocolate you can do.
Okay.
Really?
Dark
Because that
chocolate?
has a really great antioxidant in it.
Notice
that-
how she said a dark chocolate.
Oh, dark chocolate.
Just one.
Okay. Hey.
Moderation is key.
There you
no
go.
matter how healthy something is, you're going to gain weight if you eat too much of it.
And you also say portion control is key, too.
Yes. Use a small dish. You don't have to fill up a huge huge plate. Use a small dish. And when you go to your function, focus more on the people than the food.
That's
That's a
true.
good idea.
If you're talking, you can't be eating.
Exactly.
Socialize. That's the
Socialize
key.
and network and fill yourself up with good, healthy, nutritious food, and you'll be less hungry throughout the rest of the season.
Now, these have all been great tips. Is there one tip that you say is the most important to remember throughout the entire year with eating healthy?
I really think that eating a good breakfast, like your mother always told you to do,
Most important meal of the day?
most important meal of the day, because it gets that whole blood sugar insulin thing going the right way. But make sure that it's a protein breakfast.
Okay.
Okay.
So
What do you
that means
recommend?
like eggs or maybe some meat left over from the night before. Make it simple.
Okay.
Or some cottage cheese, or I think we had a piece of string cheese around somewhere.
Yeah, right
Here we
there.
go.
Okay.
Now something like this is very good to have for breakfast.
Okay.
And you can eat it running outside the door. You know, you can just eat it on the run, which is great.
Okay, well,
All
I'm going
right.
to take
Well,
mine on the run, Dr. Sue.
So
Thank
protein
you.
breakfast.
Thank you so
Protein
much, Dr.
breakfast.
Sue. So I'm just going to have a little vodka.
Yeah. And I'll have my cheese and water, and you're watching Arise Entertainment 360.
Cheers.
Happy holidays.